Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we post writing tips, unboxings, book hauls, book reviews and the occasional vlog. And today I have a writing tips video for you, and it is one that really I just want to kind of open a discussion about this. I have looked into this and couldn't find many people talking about how to write this or even talking about it in general. So I thought I would start a conversation with a discussion on how to write polyamory, or at least things to bear in mind. Before we get into these writing tips, don't forget, if you like what you see, to subscribe to this channel. You'll continue to support me a lot, so thank you guys so much. First of all, what is polyamory? Polyamory is a relationship between more than two people. This can be both sexual and non-sexual. It's a relationship of love, the same as you would have if you are just in a two-person couple. For example, me and my partner Matt are married and we are in a love relationship, but there's only two of us. A polyamorous relationship is where there are three or more people in that relationship with the equal amount of love you have as just two people in a relationship. Now, I will link below this video two videos that I watched in preparation for making this video. One is an interview podcast with a throuple. Is that the correct word for a polyamorous relationship with three people? And they were just answering questions, being really honest about their relationship. And then the second video is four authors who are in polyamorous relationships talking about their experience and about the writing process of writing polyamorous characters within their books. This video is kind of to sum up what I found and what I've read about this, but mostly to start a conversation. As I've already said, I am not in a polyamorous relationship, but I do think it is highly underrepresented in books and in TV shows and movies. There really isn't much representation, and as we know from LGBTQ plus rights and things like that, that a lack of representation causes a lot of issues. So I would be so interested in seeing more representation of polyamorous relationships. And if you're watching this and you know of books that have polyamorous relationships within them, please comment them down below, because I would love to add them to my TBR to read, because I haven't found much out there. So do let me know. But with that being said, let's get into my 8 tips on if you're going to write polyamory in your novel. Number 1, they are not love triangles. A polyamorous relationship is not where you have one person and two people who love them. A polyamorous relationship is where all people love each other equally. It is not a competition. So a love triangle is generally where you have one main character, such as in the Hunger Games, and they kind of love two people, but those two people don't love each other. Those two people are fighting, and the end result is the winner generally of that person. It's a bit objectifying really in some regards, but it is. I am guilty of this. I do love reading a good love triangle, even though it is objectifying in ways. But anyway, that is not polyamory. Polyamory is where the three people would love each other on equal terms. It is also consensual. It is talked about within that couple. So, major thing to bear in mind, don't make a polyamorous relationship a love triangle. They are completely different things. Number 2, a healthy polyamorous relationship requires honesty, and I mean a lot of honesty. There needs to be a lot of communication and consideration or understanding and empathy, because a balance needs to be maintained. And it's not always about jealousy, because generally, as I've already said, in a polyamorous relationship, everyone loves each other equally. It's more about it being fair or someone not feeling left out, more so than that person being jealous. But it is a relationship that must have communication, and very open communication. If you think about how much you have to communicate when you have one partner, you then have to double the amount of communication when you have two partners or three partners. It's also something that, because society at the moment is not open to polyamory so much, it's not set up for it. You need to bear in mind with your characters, at the moment you can only marry one person. You can't marry multiple people, apart from in certain religions. That's different. You also, I don't believe, can have three people's names on a house if you're raising children a school isn't set up to have multiple parents, more than two parents. It's a new world to an extent that society hasn't prepared, even though polyamory is not new. Alright, this has been going on for as long as people have existed, but the world around is not ready. Now, if you're writing a fantasy or science fiction, that could be something quite refreshing in that the world is prepared for it and there is no baton of violence, there is no question about it. And quite a few science fictions do sometimes do this, but it's more about open relationships more than polyamorous relationships. A polyamorous relationship doesn't mean you're in an open relationship where you all sleep around or date lots of other people outside of the polyamorous relationship. It means you are a relationship and you are monogamous together. Number 3, it's not all about sex. There's a lot of polyamory in erotica, for example. People love the idea of threesomes, foursomes, and the idea of living together, almost like in a harem. But it's not really representative of a polyamorous relationship. A polyamorous relationship is a relationship. It's not a sexual kink or a sexual fantasy. That is an orgy or a threesome. Polyamory is a love relationship. And as all love-based relationships, it's about a lot more than sex. Number 4, the relationship should matter to the plot. And in this I mean, like in everything you put in your book, it shouldn't just be there for the sake of being there. There should be a reason that some characters fall in love. There's a reason some characters are this religion. Yes, you do want to have good representation and you do want to have a good variety of characters, but there should kind of be a reason if you want the polyamory to have a main stage, for it to have a basis within the plot itself. Now, it doesn't need to be the whole plot of the book. It doesn't need to be about polyamory. It could just be a fantasy and the characters happen to be in a polyamorous relationship together, but there should be kind of reasons, you know, the same as if your characters are going to be in a relationship, if there's just two of them, is there a reason they're in a relationship and not just best mates or friends or acquaintances? Number 5, and I have kind of touched on this, and that is jealousy. Because in a polyamorous relationship, consent is very important, and as is communication. Generally, jealousy is not one of the problems they have. From my own research, please do comment down below if that's not the case, from what you have seen or read, or if you are in a polyamorous relationship, if you have been suffering with jealousy. But generally, from what I have researched, because it is a loving relationship between multiple people, so all the people in that relationship are in love with each other, it's not so much jealousy, it's more the feeling of being left out is more what is communicated, not jealousy per se. And because the relationship requires a lot of communication, you would catch the forming of jealousy before it becomes major jealousy. So if you are writing a polyamorous relationship, don't necessarily use jealousy as your plot point of the relationship. Number 6, beta readers. You knew it was coming if you've watched any of my writing tips on the channel before. If you are going to write a book with polyamorous relationship within it, then get beta readers who are in polyamorous relationships, because they will tell you if you are misrepresenting or if you are representing correctly. On this same thread, you could get a sensitivity editor who is someone who is an editor who is in a polyamorous relationship, who will censor your work and check you are not misrepresenting. Do it. Always get beta readers. I don't know how often I need to tell people, beta read your work. Number 7, do your characters have children? I mention this because in a polyamorous relationship, not having children and having children will change the dynamics of that relationship quite vastly, as it would in a 2-person couple. Children change people a lot, and they change what you think about a lot. It also changes the kind of societal issues that your characters are going to come into. As I've already said, if you are in a polyamorous relationship, for example, owning a house with 3 or more people, can you do it? If you don't have children, it's going to be more of how people view your relationship, or people are going to over-sexualize your relationship. But if you have children, you then also enter the problems of schools, dealing with multiple parents, of other children. You know, how are they going to treat the kids in a family of polyamory of multiple parents? More questions come into it, so bear that in mind. It's the same sort of idea as when you have a character, are they orphans or are they not? It's traditional you make your character an orphan just so you can skip out the parents. Honestly, that is the reason most people are orphans in a lot of books. And the final tip for writing polyamory, number 8, is to remember polyamorous relationships are relationships of love. And this kind of just culminates the previous tips I've already given. Remember that it is a loving relationship, that this is multiple people who all love each other equally. And I can't express this enough, that it is love, and it is true love. Do not kinkify it, do not make it all about sex. It's love, and you should treat it in the same way you treat love between two people. That's all it is. It's multiple people who love each other. The videos I would recommend watching are Life Uncut podcast, which is the throuple wants to tell you about their relationship, and the Right Hive No More Love Triangles. I would highly recommend watching these YouTube videos. I'm being distracted because a white cat has just gone into the front garden and jumped the fence. I'd recommend that. I'll put links below to those 2 videos, but this is just to open the discussion. I am definitely not an expert on polyamorous relationships or in writing polyamory. I wanted to research it, and I wanted to open the doors for people to please start researching this, start discussing this. Please comment down below. Recommend to me authors who are writing about polyamory, specifically if they are in polyamorous relationships. I would like to read books that show polyamory out of my own curiosity. Interested in seeing it represented the same as I'm interested with LGBTQ plus representation in books. I love reading that. I love reading books with representation of physical and mental disabilities, even if they are not of my own. Please comment down below if you've read polyamorous relationships in books, because I would love to add them to my TBR. And comment if you have your own tips for writing polyamory. Again, specifically if you are in a polyamorous relationship. This is not the be all and end all of writing tips. This is to open the discussion. Remember, it's the same as writing any other characters who are in love. There's just multiple people in love with each other. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you'd like to see as soon as I upload, click that little bell down below. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook and Tumblr. I post bookish pictures as well as my writing tips and unboxings on there. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye!